Hi guys, welcome back to Fair's Tutorials. CSEC Food, Nutrition and Health. In today's episode, we're reviewing Question 2 for the exam year 2021. It reads, list two sources of proteins, 2 marks. State two functions of proteins, 2 marks. Name two elements found in proteins, 2 marks. B. Susan is preparing a medley of steamed vegetables to be served for lunch. Explain 2 ways in which Susan can conserve vitamin C during the pre-preparation stage and preparation stage of the meal. 4 marks. Peter, an elderly man, was advised by his doctor to increase his intake of water and minerals. 1. Suggest 3 signs or symptoms that Peter may have shown that caused the doctor to recommend an increased intake of water. Next part, Peter's doctor recommended that he use a supplement to increase his mineral intake. List 3 ways in which Peter can increase his mineral intake other than by the use of supplements. 3 marks. And of course, guys, in total, the entire question is worth 16 marks. Now, let's go in details. Number 1, list 2 sources of proteins. As it relates to proteins, there are 2 sources. We can have 2 categories of sources, rather, which is 2 food groups, food from animal source or food or plant sources, which is from the legumes group, right? So it's okay to list any 2. If you want to list 2 animal sources, which is meat or fish, you can. Or if you want to list 2 plant sources, peas, beans, you can as well. Or if you want to list 1 each from each category, you also would have gotten your marks for that as well. Next part, state 2 functions of proteins. We have about 5 functions here for you to select from. So first, it helps repair and build your body tissues. It allows metabolic reactions to take place and coordinates bodily functions. It provides the body with a structural framework. Protein also maintain proper pH balance and fluid balance, right? It's a secondary source of energy, and also it helps in the creation of hormones and antibodies, among many other functions. Good. Now, these are just some that you can select from to get your ideal responses. Next part, name 2 elements found in proteins. Question required for you to only list 2. We have all the elements here, which are oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and sometimes sulfur and phosphorus, right? And please remember too that the macronutrients have the elements in common, 3 elements in common, which are oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon. But nitrogen is special to protein because that's the element that helps us to build and repair body tissues, while the other 3 provides us with energy. Next question. Susan is preparing a medley of steamed vegetables to be served for lunch. Explain 2 ways in which Susan can conserve vitamin C during the pre-preparation stage and preparation stage of the meal, right? And this question is worth 4 marks. So the question is basically drawing your knowledge of how you can conserve vitamin during food preparation, right? Now, it asks for pre-preparation stage and the preparation stage. Now, the pre-prep stage is all the activities that you would have completed before you actually cook or prepare the item, right? Now, let us look at some ideal responses. The first one, now, more nutrients are retained when there is less contact with water. Therefore, do not soak vegetables and fruits, right? So that's one way. Another way is refrigerate food in airtight, moisture-proof containers. as the loss of nutrients is slowed near freezing temperatures at high humidity and less air contact. She could also avoid trimming and cutting fruits and vegetables into small pieces. Now, the greater surface area allows oxygen to break down vitamins faster, and sometimes you will see that as a discoloration process of oxidation taking place there, right? So the oxygen will cause the vitamins to be destroyed when the surface area is large. So that is why it is recommended that she may avoid trimming and also cutting them in too small of a piece. Good. Next, the outer leaves of all greens and under the skins of fruits and vegetables such as potatoes, carrots, and vegetables have more nutrients than their inner portion. Therefore, we recommend that Susan wash and use fruits in skin whenever it is possible, right? Other response could include some method which should be used for better preservation of nutrients are steaming, grilling, baking, and sauteing. And these are cooking methods, right? Because the question says during the pre-preparation stage, which we just listed before, and in the preparation stage now, which we're talking about. So she should cook fruits and vegetables with their skin on as well to prevent them from to prevent the vitamins from being damaged. Good. Or to conserve the vitamins. Next question. Peter, an elderly man, was advised by his doctor to increase his intake of water and minerals. Suggest 3 signs or symptoms that Peter may have shown that caused the doctor to recommend an increased intake of water, right? Now, this question is valued at 3 marks and it asks you to suggest 3 signs or symptoms. So you can mix the signs and symptoms together. So remember, signs is what you would see and symptoms would what you would feel, right? Now, if someone is advised to increase their intake of water, they're probably dehydrated or they're probably constipated, right? Those are 2 things that can happen. Good. Now, the question, we couldn't just leave it at dehydration and constipation because the question asks for symptoms, right? Now, symptoms of dehydration could include thirst. So you're required to write about the signs or the symptoms. So you may say thirst, right? As this is the first sign of the body telling you that you are becoming dehydrated. You could also speak about fatigue, when if he finds himself more tired than he usually is during his workout, if he's exercising or just on a regular, then he may be low on fluids. A next sign is salt deposits. Now, if he develops dry white stuff around his face or on his clothes, it may be heavy salt, right, that comes from the sweat. It may also be muscle cramping, right, which is a sign of dehydration, a later sign that is. Now, there is also nausea or lightheadedness. He could look pale. He could have a pale or sweaty skin. Those are also signs, right? As it relates to constipation, he could have a loss of appetite. He may have bloating, distension in the stomach, hard stool, which is painful bowel movements, and also possible bleeding when trying to pass a stool as well. Good. Now, the other part of the question says that it speaks about the intake of water and also the minerals. So we're going to look at osteoporosis because this is a popular disease that affects the elderly, right? And I noticed that our little P right there is cut off a little. All right, better. Osteoporosis. Now, signs and symptoms. Remember, that's what the question asks for. So you may say bone pain or tenderness. He may be experiencing a lot of fractures with little or no trauma, loss of height over time, the neck or lower back pain due to fractures, or he may have a stooped posture, right? So these are some of the signs and the symptoms that the doctor may ask him, that may tell him that he needs to increase his intake of minerals, right? So I would say go for osteoporosis. If they ask about the elderly, they may ask about the children. You may can choose rickets, right? Other stuff, we're going to look at these other two, which are anemia and goiter, briefly. So some of the signs, symptoms of anemia may include fatigue, dizziness, even fainting, right? It may be muscular weakness, shortness of breath, looking pale, changing the stool, etc. Good. It may even low blood pressure as well. Now, as it relates to goiter, it may be a visible swelling at the base of the neck, right? A tight feel it in the throat. So these person may cough a lot, they may sound hoarse, have difficulty swallowing, and also difficulty breathing, right? And all of these are diseases that are linked with inadequate amount of minerals, right? So you know that osteoporosis is an inadequate amount of calcium, phosphorus, also good. And as it relates to anemia, you know, it can be iron or B12 or pernicious. It depends on the case. And for goiter, you know, it's a mineral iodine. Good. All right, next part of this question states, Peter's doctor recommended that he use a supplement to increase his mineral intake. List 3 ways in which Peter can increase his mineral intake other than by the use of supplements. 3 marks, right? Now let's go quickly. So the first one says, Peter should modify his diet by including foods that are rich in vitamins and minerals. And we include vitamins there because when you think about the relationship with vitamins and minerals, sometimes they will need each other for them to be absorbed, right? So for example, like a pairing of, say, iron, which is a mineral, versus vitamin C, you know, you need each other for them to be absorbed. Now, this involves an emphasis on fruits and vegetables, whole grain, beans and legumes, low-fat protein, and dairy products. Good. So that's a wide variety of foods that are rich in minerals. Next, he could become knowledgeable about the substances that inhibit or promote absorption of certain nutrients, and therefore he will adjust his diet accordingly. Good. So he will take food items that help his minerals to be absorbed, promote the mineral absorption. Next point, he could also read the labels of food items when shopping so that he is able to select foods that are rich in minerals. Good. So he can become aware that what he's eating actually has the mineral inside it. All right. Good luck, guys. You're awesome. You've made it to the end of the session. Please remember to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on your post notification bells so that you can be notified when there's another upload. Most important of all, share with persons who you know will find this information useful. Thank you for making it fair